Rayman in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Is it finally happening? We talk about it. Block content. What's happening, my Block buddies, and welcome to a brand new episode of Blocked Content's Leak Speak. My name is Callum, and this is going to be your content for today. We've talked a lot about the entire roster of Smash Ultimate, the characters that we think that are coming, the things that are, super obvious, but one of the things that I think we've overlooked for a very long time now has been Rayman. The character in Smash, Ubisoft owned, a really awesome franchise that has been going for a very long time, and actually at one point in time really rivaled Mario and Sonic as sort of a mascot platformer, right? Now this character is really interesting. I think that there's already a lot of evidence that this character has been thought about in terms of Smash. It could be coming to the game, and I really wanted to talk about it with you guys because the character is pretty much iconic, right? The look of the character, the colors of the character, and especially the moveset, right? If you think about Rayman, you pretty much think about all the crazy things that this character can do. Now, I think that that fits perfectly into Super Smash Bros., so let's talk about it. And of course, for those of you guys who like giveaways, we are giving away a Piranha Plant plushie at 50k and this beautiful What's Happening My Block Buddies t-shirt at 40k. So subscribe to Block Content, please press that like button so it really helps out the channel, and of course comment down below why you should enter for the giveaways. Alright guys, let's head right on into this. So Rayman, right? The legend. Basically a platforming character that a lot of you guys really want in Smash Bros. So there are two versions, basically, I feel, of Rayman, and that's the newer incarnation, the sort of Legends kind of version, and the older one. And I think what is interesting here is that both have been kind of represented in Super Smash Bros. As a whole. So let's talk about the fact that Rayman actually got a trophy in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, which is already on its own pretty crazy, right? The fact that the character from a big third party that doesn't really work on Smash Bros. Still gets a character in there, not in terms of an assist fighter, not in terms of anything else regarding to the roster, not even in terms of, a nod in a stage or something like that, but as a trophy. So it has a 3D model in the game, and that makes you think, was there something planned for the character, right? There's this full 3D model. I think the trophy looked pretty weird, like Rayman was sort of singing or something like that, but I think that the quality of that render looked very, very good. I think for trophies, generally, they always look really good in Smash Brothers, but definitely for Rayman here, I was like, are they really planning for this character to be a fighter down the line? And especially when there was DLC coming for Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, a lot of people were rightly speculating that, yeah, maybe this character will eventually get into the game through a DLC update, because they've already got the partnership, and that's a big deal, right? Getting that developer on board that you can use that character. And of course, Sakurai is hyper aware that all these fighters have a very big fan base. They of course did the poll, and I think that Rayman should have probably scored within at least the top 30 of fighters to be in Smash Bros. Because he is a character that hails from video games. He comes from a very early era in video games, so he has a lot of history, and also a lot of people really want the character to be in the game based on the moveset, right? The floating gloves, the attacks, the floating hair move, everything that comes with that character. So what I think is really interesting is that through all that lobbying, Sakurai is basically saying, yeah, we get you guys. We totally know where you're coming from, and here's at least something, right? You get a trophy of the character in the game. And I already thought that that was pretty much all we're going to get in terms of Rayman. Now, of course, a little time passes, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate comes along. And not yet talking about any Rayman in the ice kind of theories, that's pretty crazy stuff. I really wanted to talk about the fact that the character, of course, has a spirit battle, which I think is pretty insane and really cool, even though that spirit battle where you fought against Sonic and a Sukapon, it was really excruciating, especially if you didn't have the assist killer kind of assist trophy, the spirit. But I really feel like it's very notable that this character has a spirit in the game, And here it is represented in the newest style, the newest incarnation of the character, which is sort of the Legends kind of look, right? The 2D look that has a little bit of a photoshopped edge to it that I really think fit very well with the Smash Bros. Style in general. If they translate that slightly to 3D and keep that kind of cel-shaded look, I really feel like the character would fit into Smash Bros. Very well. You know, having the wind-up punch and everything like that would fit very well. There's already a host of moves that you can think about in terms of flying, throwing away those gloves, and also, of course, the taunts. There's a lot of taunts that make sense for this character to be in the game. So now we don't just have a trophy in one game, but we have a spirit in another, right? And to me, the interesting fact about Rayman here is that, of course, it's gotten blown up so much by Artsy Omni, a very good friend of the channel, very good friend of mine, who made this incredible leak about Rayman. And of course, this ended up being a fake leak, a manufactured thing, but the render was incredible, and most importantly, and I think that this was probably Artsy Omni's goal from the get-go, is it got people talking about this character in Super Smash Bros., right? It got people talking about Rayman, and that, I think, was the impetus of getting the character even to appear in Ultimate, right? Now we know that the character is already in the hands of Nintendo in terms of, yeah, we asked them, the character is in the game, we got a PNG image off of Ubisoft, and I feel like that really makes a difference to, you know, seeing the chances of this character. So now we get to talk about what is in the future for this character, right? It didn't happen in Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, right? We got the DLC, we got our Roys, we got our Lucases, we got our Bayonettas, our Ryus, everything, but we didn't end up getting this character. And even though he had representation in the game, where was he, right? Did they just get the character for the trophy? Well, sort of, yes. What if they ended up working on the character and it didn't really pan out for Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, and they were like, well, let's save it, right? Then they supposedly maybe even included this character in the base roster of Ultimate. It didn't fit, it maybe got overshadowed by other things, maybe they weren't happy with the direction the character is going, so they were like, throw in a spirit to at least make people happy and, you know, to kind of quiet them down a bit, and maybe let's release the character when it is ready for the DLC pass. Now, of course, you might be thinking, there's one character left in that Fighter's Pass, there's one color left, could that be the purple for Rayman? I think that it could definitely be the case. I think that Rayman, even though I didn't grow up with the character, I played a lot of the games. I even think the little PlayStation Mini that came out came with Rayman, and I played a bunch of that too. That was really interesting to see with the origins of the character and the way that the worlds work. So in terms of stages, there's a whole lot you could do there, and it's really difficult to like choose one thing. And in terms of series icons, I think that definitely Rayman deserves to be up there. So could the character be coming to DLC? I think that if the character is coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC, it would have to be this final slot. So it's a little bit of the battle of the mascots, right? On one hand, you've got the Doomslayer that a lot of people are talking about wanting to get to Smash Bros. Ultimate. On the other hand, you have Crash Bandicoot, which is of course a huge 90s and 2000s era mascot. And now you even got Rayman in the mix, so it's really a brawl of characters that used to be super relevant, that are still in the zeitgeist now, and in terms of Doomslayer, super relevant, Crash Bandicoot making a good return as well. So is this possible? Well, if you look at the characters, right, the Western and Eastern developed kind of feeling of it, well, I feel like we've gotten Terry Bogard, right? A very Eastern character, you know, of course, very inspired by Western, you know, character designs and stuff like that, because it's basically a trucker character. And we got Joker and Hero now. So those three characters, I feel, are really Eastern, you know, are very much characters that play in Japan. And we got Banjo. So if we've got Banjo and Rayman, I think that'd pretty much tip the scales. You've got these huge characters that are basically icons, and all these other, you know, characters from Japanese developers that Sakurai really looks up to. So I feel like it could go either way, but I'm very interested to see a moveset for the character. So if I think it's going to happen, it'll happen as the final character in this Fighter's Pass and not the additional ones. I think they might want to go with first party there. Anyways, I'd love to hear what you guys think of this. If you comment down below, that comment could actually be featured in our next video. So please let me know in the comments down below. As for our previous comment question, our answer comes to us by way of our user, our really awesome very own Wide Mouth, saying, People have questioned whether Frisk can be in Smash because of the pacifist route. The problem with that argument is that pacifism is optional in Undertale. Frisk does have the option to kill people in self-defense. Well, Whitemouth, I think it's very interesting if you talk about Undertale. Of course, the main character doesn't really use any lethal force if you choose not to use any lethal force. So that I think is interesting for the character, but I do think something like Frisk is possible, especially after all the sand stuff. But I think the way that they'll go about it is include things from the entire game. So yeah, I think that there's ways as Captain Olimar in Pikmin that you can choose not to be very aggressive too. I think that there's other games that work like that. So pretty much games are about choice, right? And I think Sakurai and Smash as a whole wants to represent characters in more of a, adventure and more of an action setting. So I think that they'll take the elements of the character that work within that setting, work within a platforming fighter. So I think that in terms of Undertale, if we are getting Frisk, they'll definitely make a moveset that really works, because pacifism might be optional. It might even be, one move. It might be sparing a character, and then that puts the other character in some sort of a state that it is open for an attack or something really strange. Maybe it's even like a kamikaze kind of move that basically ends the fight right there because you are basically too nice for them, right? It's really interesting to think about stuff like that, but I really feel like there's tons of ways to make Frisk work in Super Smash Bros. So thank you guys so much for sending in your comments. These are always so much fun to do. So thank you guys so much for joining me yet again on this adventure. And remember, if you're not yet a member of the Block Content family yet, don't worry, click the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so all the news and fun you care about will be delivered on the daily to you. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys around the corner where there's always more Blocked content. See ya.